out of all these special tests, how to determine that which special test is accurate for diagnosing particular condition. Hey everyone, this is me Physiotendz from Physiotrendz, working as an associate professor in physiotherapy college and also having more than 8 years of experience. And in this video I am going to teach you about the validity, reliability, sensitivity and specificity of a special test so that we can confirm that which special test can be more useful for ruling out the condition or which special test can be more useful for ruling in the condition in the diagnosis. So let's start by understanding first that what is the need of finding out the validity, reliability, specificity or sensitivity of the test. So my dear friends, we know that there are plenty of special tests for particular one diagnosis or one condition, but due to limit of the time as well as limited activity of the patient, we cannot perform all the tests on the patient. And that is why we have to be sure that whichever the test we are performing, at least 2 or 3 tests, they are giving us accurate result, accurate diagnosis for the provided condition. So let's begin with validity. Validity is something at what degree the tool or test measures what it is supposed to measure. For an example, stopwatch. Now we all know that what is the use of stopwatch. So just to determine how much time a person is taking to perform that particular activity, and it accurately measures the time, and that is why stopwatch becomes more reliable, more valid tool for that particular activity or for that particular measurement. Another example for this, we can take weighing scale. Weighing scale measures weight of a person properly, accurately, and that is why we use it for weighing the weight. And that is why it becomes a valid tool for weight measurement. So same way, let's understand what is reliability. So reliability is something that same tool, if it is used by different people, different person, then also it is going to give you same result or same readings. And that is what makes that particular tool more reliable. For example, I am using a stopwatch or somebody else or you are using a stopwatch for the same activity and we both have the same readings, then that becomes more reliable tool because it doesn't matter who is using it, because the tool is showing you accurate or equal result irrelevant to who is using it. So that is how we can decide about the reliability of that particular tool or the scale. Now let's understand sensitivity as well as specificity. For example, let's consider that we have 95 patients with disc prolapse and we are performing SLR test on them. And we found out that all the 95 patients were positive in the SLR test. That means SLR test is having 100% sensitivity towards the disc prolapse patient. Now again, this also means that if this test becomes negative for any patient, then we can easily say that yes, this patient is not having disc prolapse. So it is easily helping us to rule out the condition. And that is what the highly sensitive test does for us, that if we are using highly sensitive test on a particular patient, it comes negative, that means we can easily rule out that condition. Like in this example, we can say that all the patients, because all the patients were diagnosis, we can say that it is all true positive result. Now generally we know that it is hardly possible that we can have 100% sensitive test. Sometimes it will happen that the test will come positive for even those who are not actually having disc prolapse in the previous example. So those candidates who are not having the disc prolapse still are coming positive for the test, they will be considered as false positive. And at the same time, it may happen that we are not able to find out patients who are actually positive with the special test, and those category of the patient will be considered as false negative patients or false negative population. So now let's again look at the example of the patients with disc prolapse, that we had 95 patients. Now let's suppose that out of them only 85 were supposed to have this condition of disc prolapse, and we still be able to diagnose 95 people with the disc prolapse. So here it is not affecting the sensitivity at all, because still this test is able to find out all the 85 people with the disc prolapse plus 10 false positive result. So that is not going to affect the sensitivity of the test, but that is going to affect the specificity. Why? Because Even though the population is not affected by the disc prolapse, the test is diagnosing them with the disc prolapse. And that is why we need more specific tests to find out the condition or rule in the condition. So here in specific test, we will find less of the false negatives and we will get more of the true positives. So if I talk about the ideal situation, we need a test which is also highly sensitive as well as highly specific, so that we can use those tests to rule in or rule out the condition or diagnosis easily. But it is very difficult to find out highly specific and sensitive test both together, and that is why we have to at least find out one test which is highly sensitive and one test which is highly specific, so that we can easily rule in or rule out the condition on the basis of their diagnosis ability. Now, to understand this in a better way, let me give you this example. Let's say for the disc prolapse or lumbar radicular pain, we are using SLR test as well as crossed SLR test. But SLR test is having 28% of specificity and 92% of sensitivity. In compared to that, cross SLR test is having 28% of sensitivity and 90% of specificity. Now you tell me which test you will use to rule out the condition and which test you will use to rule in the condition. Let me tell you this. Just because the SLR test is more sensitive, we will use it for ruling out the condition. And just because the cross SLR test is highly specific, we are going to use that test for ruling in the condition. So I really hope that you understood the concepts of specificity and sensitivity, plus the use of validity and reliability of the test in the diagnostic procedure. If you want to find out that whether your test which you are using is highly specific or sensitive, you can find it from two ways. One of the ways you can find it from the articles which are giving you idea about the how much sensitive or specific your test is, or you can also find it from the book which is called as David J. Magee, which is specially for the special test and orthopedic assessment, in which you can find out the data of all the tests, that how much specificity and sensitivity they are having. Still, after that, if you have any doubts, do let me know in the comment section or chat box on the application, as well as you can also DM me on Instagram or YouTube. I will be always there to help you all. And also don't forget to visit my other social media pages for more information on the physiotherapy and the subject.